With the New York Rangers' terrible play continuing on now for quite a while, and this team continuing to pile up the losses, it definitely seems like this could possibly end up being a lost season and pretty much just a kind of failed season there for the Rangers, possibly missing the playoffs for the first time in a few seasons there, obviously. So in today's video, we're going to kind of talk about whether or not the Rangers can possibly have a fairly quick kind of turnaround there to get back to our winning ways and kind of have some success and playoff success possibly as soon as next season potentially. So we're going to kind of talk about how fast this turnaround could be for this team to get back on track to even where we were, last season, for example, they're making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but of course, trying to get back towards the ultimate end goal of winning that Stanley Cup. So let's get on to it now, and obviously to start off here, we know the New York Rangers are looking to make those big trades there. We've already seen two fairly decent-sized trades happen already with the New York Rangers, trading away the former second overall pick, Capo Kakko, over to the Seattle Kraken for a third and a sixth round pick, as well as an all-right defenseman who you could say is a possible, kind of decent trade candidate as well in Will Borgen there. He's a guy who I think should be flipped at the deadline there for some assets, which could make that Kakko trade look a little better, although as of the second, I don't love it. And then you've obviously got that Jacob Trouba trade as well, which was very nice there, getting a fourth round pick, as well as a depth defenseman in Urho Vakanainen, who is, nothing too special there, but getting a fourth round pick and getting off that terrible contract was a big bonus there. So obviously we've seen two pretty big, fairly decent sized trades happen so far. Also Trouba being the captain there, that makes things a little more kind of, impactful. So that was a pretty big move there. Trading away the former second overall pick, another pretty big move there as well. So we traded away two, pretty impactful guys over the last long while, whether it was for good or bad. They definitely had their impact on the New York Rangers, Kakko especially, more on the good side, but in general, those moves happen there. So we know these big moves are kind of looking to be made by the New York Rangers kind of staff right now in front office. So do we end up actually seeing one of those major moves happen at some point, possibly this upcoming offseason, to where we see a superstar kind of guy added in to really kind of help, turn things around here with this organization and franchise? Because with the way things are going right now, so far this season, we're definitely seeing some of the issues that we've had in the past with this team really come to life now, with not having the most elite goaltending at points, but also just having some major breakdowns at points as well. So I think this team, has kind of relied on their goaltender too much at points throughout this season as well. And we've definitely seen Igor and, Quick have their really good games there and kind of steal some wins. But for the most part, we definitely have just seen some terrible hockey by this team, and some of the flaws that we've seen in past seasons as well. It's been kind of really enlarged with our special teams, for example, not being too good at all. They're the power play, which is normally way up there, kind of in the top 3 range. Same with the penalty kill. Those are nowhere near kind of the top of the league right now. So that is definitely a big, kind of hurting factor towards, kind of why we are obviously not doing too great this season and looking like a truly, non-playoff team, which is very disappointing because we've seen this Rangers team make 2 of the last Eastern Conference Finals, which is a big thing there. Most NHL teams would love to be in that spot there, to be able to have that much playoff success, to be able to win that many playoff games and that many rounds and go that far, and obviously have that many ticket sales. So I think, we have had some good success there with this Rangers team. We have, as fans, seen some really good, playoff wins and stuff like that. That's been great and all, but we have seen this team rely on our goaltender, Igor Shesterkin, way too much there, which has been a big reason why this team hasn't gone over the hump there. So I think when you're kind of making this turnaround here, you really have to kind of look at these issues that we have seen this season and try and fix them, because they've been the same issues that we have seen for so long. And if you can't fix those, then whether we turn it around or not and have a good kind of regular season next season there, us getting over the hump probably won't happen there if we don't fix these issues that we have seen for so long. So I think we really need to strengthen up this team here. This team is not good enough the way it's built right now. You got to see some physicality added in, some overall just talent on the front and back end there, the forwards and defense side of things there. We have finally seen Igor get that contract there. Whether you like it or not, he signed that deal. He is locked in long term. So he's the goaltender for this New York Rangers team. So if you are a fan, he's your guy. He's the goalie. He's going to be around here for a long time. We know he can be an elite playoff performer, which is definitely, a big bonus. But I just think in general, like, he's going to be, a big part of this turnaround, but we have to see this team get better around him. We can't just rely on him to kind of, turn things around for this franchise. You got to build this roster around him much better than what we've seen in the past to really see, a possible Stanley Cup win at some point in the future, which is what we all want to see. The franchise and the front office staff and all those guys, the owners, they all want to see that the players do as well, and so do we as fans. So hopefully that can happen for all of us. But taking a look also, the Rangers do have some very good young talent as well. Guys like Brett Berard, Victor Mancini. We have seen some guys, even as soon as, this season, for example, make their impact and debuts, at the NHL level there. So we do have some pretty good prospects that are going to be coming up, especially over the next, coming seasons as well. I think, for the 2025-2026 season, this upcoming kind of, training camp and all that kind of stuff, this upcoming off season, I think we're going to see quite a few guys, prospect wise, really kind of slowly start to make their way towards really trying to compete for roster spots. And, most of them aren't going to make the team, but I think a lot more guys are really starting to get closer to, being that next kind of wave of prospects. Now, just a couple guys here and there, like, Brett Broder, Victor Mancini, but we're going to have maybe, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who are really starting to begin to really maybe be close to getting their possible chance at making an impact at the NHL level. And most of those guys, like I said, they're not going to get their chance with the team possibly because there's only so many spots open. But I think we're going to see a lot of, prospects really starting to compete there, which is going to be a good thing for this organization. There's going to be a lot of good prospects down there in Hartford over the coming years, especially right now even, but even in the future as well. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens there. We have a lot of good prospects, but it's all about, kind of them making that jump to the actual NHL level to make that impact, which if they can be a really important, part of this turnaround as well. Guys like Brett Berard, Brendan Hoffman, Victor Mancini, Adam Edstrom, these are guys who are going to be on cheap contracts who need to be able to make, these big impacts like a guy like what Cooley has done. So, who's the next young prospect there that can kind of take a big step like that? Obviously, some of those guys haven't had nearly as many games played as like Cooley there. So maybe after a season or two, we can see one of these guys maybe possibly really take that big step forward in their game to truly kind of, prove themselves as being that maybe top 6 caliber forward or top 4 caliber defenseman, and some other guys, terms there. Obviously, you got like Victor Mancini there. He could possibly end up being that top 4 defenseman, but can he actually prove that at the NHL level? That's the question there. But if he can, that could be a major, factor in this team kind of turning things around there and the long-term success of this team as well. But we definitely have some good prospects there. Gabe Perreault, EJ Emery, who just got kind of cut there from the Team USA World Junior team there. He was kind of a bit of a shock kind of cut there by some people. So he's a great prospect. Drew Fortescue, another great defense prospect there. Victor Mancini, there's 3 really talented defense prospects right there. So there are a lot of good prospects coming up in the system right now, and definitely a lot of guys are going to be competing for spots even as soon as this upcoming, season in 2025, 2026, with a next kind of wave of prospects really competing for spots there. So it should be really kind of fun and exciting to see kind of which prospects can take that, next step there in their game to really possibly end up being big, impactful players for this team for not only, the coming seasons in the near future, but also long-term future as well. And my guess is that the Rangers definitely don't want to go into an actual, full-on rebuild. I think we could kind of see this season be used as maybe a bit of a retool and kind of just a reset in a season there to, kind of ship off some guys like Trouba and Kakko and kind of turn things in a different direction, which I definitely think was needed. So maybe this season could be good there. Maybe get some lottery luck or really fall down the standings there and get a really talented prospect, which would be nice, although I don't want to see this team kind of be, bottom 3 or 5 kind of bad, like that bad, but getting a really talented prospect or top pick in this draft where, there is 3, 4 kind of really, really talented prospects, especially kind of, 1 or 2 guys there, and, Matthew Schaefer, maybe James Hagen. So there are some really good prospects in this draft as well. So getting one of them would be great, but I'm not quite sure we're going to be in that kind of a spot to get one of them. But either way, there definitely is a chance we could see a fairly quick turnaround here using this kind of season as a retool, reset, kind of to turn things in a different direction. It's not a bad idea, although this season has been quite awful and, it may not be a complete kind of smooth process over the next season there unless we do see some massive changes happen and some real kind of impactful star/superstar level kind of guys added in. It might not be that kind of smooth, transition over the next season there where we're making the playoffs and being a top tier team in the NHL once again. it might be, in a season or two, possibly, depending on kind of the move that Chris Drury is able to make via free agency and trade, which we are going to have a lot of cap space. I have made some videos in the past on that kind of cap space situation there. So there is a chance we could have quite a bit there. And if we do, Chris Drury definitely needs to be active there, making those moves to make this team a whole lot better, because there are some big holes. We need to shift this team in a different direction, which we have kind of done so far with a couple moves, but there need to be quite a few more moves made there, and we definitely need to see some more young talent kind of come up through the ranks there. And we got to develop better players if we want to see this New York Rangers team really take that next step into being a true Stanley Cup contenders. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. And also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on this video and, how fast you think the New York Rangers can kind of turn things around here and get back on track towards, competing and being a true Stanley Cup contender. So thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next one. Comment down below your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video. It helps with the channel a ton. I'd really appreciate it. I'll catch you next one. Let's go Rangers. See ya.